Good morning, Nigeria, and welcome to Morning Break on Breaking Times, where we don't just read the headlines, but break it. I am Iko Chidozie Ikemba.
And I'm Ijoma Uba.
And I am Abbas Muhammad.
Well, from the politics segment this morning, we have a lot of bumper stories making the headlines. And one of our top stories this morning is talking about the PDP, ex-PDP stalwart, Dele Momodu, blasting the PDP all the way, saying that they are edging on the ruling party to win in the landslide victory if they continue with the zoning of the presidency to the south. I don't know how you see this.
Um, well, I think he has a point, and I'm listening to the full statement that he made about this. We talked about this, talked about the zoning and why we felt like the zoning was not a very bright idea. And he said, I think he said, it is the hand of Tinubu and the voice of Wike,
Yes.
something like that. And it's very interesting because Lere Olayinka, that's Wike's spokesperson, said that this is coming late. This is something that they should have done, a couple of years ago. They should have done this in 2023, and that Wike advocated for this and said they should zone it to the south, but they didn't do that, and that coming now to do it is late, which kind of positions them as not in support of the zoning. But Dele Momodu is saying that this is Wike's doing, and Wike's spokesperson is saying we are not behind this. I mean, we don't know what is what, but for what I do know is, however, is that PDP zoning it to the north is very, very to the south. Sorry, is very tricky. Like we've said, what might happen is that you might end up losing the votes from the north because the north does not have anything to gain by voting for a candidate who is not in power, who is in the south, and then you end up dividing the votes from the south as well. And that's, if the north is even going to vote, they will not even vote for a candidate from the south that has, that might possibly run for 2 tenures when they have an Asiwaju that, has just 1 tenure left. So whoever the PDP is going to bring from the south should be somebody who has, who's going to run for 1 tenure. And that's why we heard that they've been cutting Peter Obi, and because he said, it's been rumored that he said he was going to go for only 1 tenure.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then I heard they're also cutting former President Goodluck Jonathan because he already has 1 tenure left. So, I mean, it's very interesting. I don't know. It's just the political sentiments at this time, so it's what's supposed to be.
Well, from in his own words, he called it the betrayal of the party's founding principles of fairness. And the one would actually ask that why at this time, why has PDP chosen to zone their presidency to the south, while in the last election it was zoned to the north, and everyone was saying it was a turn of the north because PDP still owes the north a 4-year term. But Mohamed Abbas, does actually the North owe a time in the PDP?
Well, I believe it should be their own decision for the North. It's reasonable. I think it's a reasonable decision for the PDP to zone out the presidency to the North. But then, owing to the fact that they've been, losing in the presidential elections over the past 2 general elections, that brought in Buhari left, and then still brought in Tinubu. Well, I think it's only fair to say they owe it to the North until there is a win, and then the transfer of the mantle can be done, to the South, because I believe that's what worked for APC. Buhari came from the North, he did his 8 years, and then he moved on, and they moved theirs also to the South, so Tinubu came in. So I think that's what PDP is trying to replicate, but then, you have to have a win record before you can also replicate what works for someone else. And also, this statement from Dele Momodu just confirms what we've been trying to say. We discussed this previously, that there are some internal battles going on in the PDP political party. Dele Momodu just confirmed, as a past PDP member that he is, that there's battles that they need to, focus on, pointing fingers at some people like Wike, who is a core party member, and then they're saying he's a supporter of, the APC. I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
Anyway.
I don't know what you mean when you say core.
No, actually, now to a deeper issue. Zoning was meant to actually balance power between the north and the south, but today PDP is being accused of abandoning the principle, risking annihilation in key regions. But if PDP goes to zone its presidency in 2027 to the south, Are they not going to be, are they not having a kind of fractured the members structure issue? Because the APC could actually coast to victory without breaking a sweat going forward.
Well, what it is, and that's what I say, and that's why I kind of agree with Chief Dele Momodu. However, picking from what he said, at the point that APC came with President Muhammadu Buhari, the PDP had already done 2 years with Jonathan, a southerner, and another 4 years with Jonathan. And then we now moved to a northerner who did 8 years, and then we've moved to a southerner. Now, this southerner has 4 years to complete. And then the reason that we started the zoning, principle, back to your question, was because of federalism, the spirit of federalism, to make sure that every that both regions, are in power, that it's balanced. It's supposed to be balanced. So the North has power, the South has power. And at the point of this conversation, there wasn't any talks about zoning. We know that 3 of the geopolitical zones fall to the South and the remaining 3 fall to the North. So we expect that if we zone to the North, let the North go and do their internal politics and bring. When it falls to the South, let's do our internal politics and bring. So at this point, it only makes sense, and this is why I'm in agreement with the zoning that the PDP has done, because in the eye of Nigerians who strive for balance, the North has done 8 years in the person of President Muhammadu Buhari. Now we have come to the South. You cannot say, because you are trying to get, because for whatever reason, let's take power back to the North. It is very, very important that you're seeing to maintain that balance. However, the important conversation, like we said before, is that this person has to do 4 years so that we don't go back to the same quagmire that we had when Jonathan wanted to run, the second time, on his own mandate, like wanted to, go for the rerun where he lost. That's what we need to find a balance. The person who is coming has to be able to run for just one tenure, wrap it up, and then power shifts back to the North as it should. So until the PDP is able to find a candidate who will keep true to his word, because we know that politicians lie a lot, find a candidate who will be true to his word, stick to the 4 years, do the 4 years, and pass the baton back to the North, I think we might not see PDP in there. But however, even bringing a candidate from the South to still, fight against another southern candidate who is already in power is a Herculean task.
Well,
I don't know how they intend to do that.
Most members in PDP will tell you that President Jonathan had no business in the 2015 election. But going with the calculations, because you had Olusegun Obasanjo, who spent 8 years. You had Yar'Adua, who came afterwards, who only spent 2 years.
Very unfair.
And they will look at it from the point of fairness, that the North still has a tenure to actually serve the nation. But to Nigerian, you will say, oh, we don't really care about party at this time. We actually care about how fairness plays out within the region. But looking at the zonal policy of the PDP, the North still has 4 years to serve under the PDP presidency. But Nigerians are not seeing it this way. How you as a person would you actually see it as an electorate going forward if PDP brings up a Southerner come 2027?
Well, I think going for party interests is important, but then at the same time, what is actually going to put them in power? I don't think that decision, that Southern zoning decision, is what is right for PDP at the moment, because I feel, or going with the decision they made, I know it comes from, picking a northern chairman, a chairman from the North within the party is what affected, decision to have a presidential candidate from the South.
I think it's the other way around, if you ask me.
No, well, you see,
I think because they want a candidate from the South, they
that is why. But then at the
North.
same time, picking a party chairman just affects the party. It's not actually in the interest of the electorate. So I think this is a decision that actually affects them, and they're allowing it to blur the bigger picture here, because I feel like having a candidate from the North is what is going to be right for them. Doing what all it takes to win, because there is a general belief that the votes come from the North the most. So having that ideology, I think that would have helped them make a proper decision rather than focusing on or allowing internal issues shape the entire ideology of the party.
Well, they lost with the northern candidate at the last election. Do you think anything will change this?
Well, they have been using the same candidate, if I'm not mistaken. So probably a new candidate, same region, but a different candidate, because there are always drama. There's always drama that comes with whoever they push
from political maneuvers to what is going on in Imo State. The Governor Hope Uzodinma just raised the minimum wage across all sectors. Workers are excited, extra naira in the pocket is a good news. But what critics are saying, it may just be a pre-2027 political stunt. IJ, what do you think?
When I saw the story, I was I liked it, to be honest. I liked the story. I liked the, where it was going. However, um, I'm a little skeptical because this is Governor Hope Uzodinma. We know him. Okay. And he has a
history.
A history, he has a reputation. So more important, I'm hoping that this goes beyond the headlines. Are these just for the news? And is this going to actually translate into something? So I think we're going to stay and we're going to wait till he pays the first, second, and third because, at the point to stop. So let's hope that this is not him trying to ride on this into 27 to bring in his own candidate for continuity. But let's see if he's actually able to keep up with that. And more importantly, where is it going to raise the money? Because, I'm seeing that they're raising the amount for doctors from 215 to over 500,000, which is really commendable. That's what we've been asking for. I like the fact that he's raising it from 77 to 100,000, 104,000.
104,000, yeah.
It's good because people need, 77,000 wasn't going anywhere really. So I like the fact that, this is doing, and if he does this and he's doing it actually, it is going to, if more states can also follow, it's going to pressure the federal government into reviewing what the minimum wage standard should be across the entire country. However, I hope that this is not politics, and more importantly, where are these funds being raised? And I hope they're being done in the proper way, budget passing, allocation, and everything. So you're not robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Mohammed,
yes.
Going into the deeper conversation analysis, wage raises in the states where the revenues are low, and it means two things. It's either increased borrowing, or workers are being overhauled through the months, and this is going to create a kind. But I will actually let's draw back a little. I was actually in Imo State a time when that government was in play, and what most governors do is to keep a backlog of arrears, and when another administration comes in,
they inherit it.
So are we going to say the same thing with Hope Uzodinma, only that he's going to be leaving in just a couple of years to come?
Well, from my angle, I feel like it's a great decision. We should also pause to reflect that whether it is an audio decision or is something that will actually that will come to light, it's really commendable. There was no strike, there was no protest from the indigents of the state before this decision was actually made. This is something that a leader self-reflected upon, and then came out and made a decision. So that is really commendable on his part. On the issue of whether it's going to actually come into play before he leaves, or it's just a way of shaping the people's mindset. Well, I think the people will be here to keep him accountable, and we are also here, to give that live report on whether it comes to light or not. But it's actually very commendable, moving from the 76,000 minimum wage to 104, and then increasing the salary of the doctors. It's very commendable that he made this decision. Because my angle is that he is doing this from his own ideology, from what he believes, the reality of the situation of the state, the country. And, the government is something they should look into this, that these increases should come, not because the people have started demanding. They should know what it is that the people need and require at a particular point in time.
Yeah, for we as the people, we like to hear the pulse of the people and actually feel the pulse of the people. And we want to hear from our viewers to know exactly how they feel about this news. And because this is just a very big question. Can Imo actually pay the salary going forward? Because it's a state that has its domicile with civil servants and not much of an industrial state. And one will be asking, is this an economic reality or just a political stunt? So going forward, we are looking at the next story where the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, has called for an electoral registrar whereby parties and INEC and other political players are being actually regulated. Are we due for this?
I think what he's saying, right, makes sense. In the light of everything that is happening now, it makes sense that somebody puts these people in check. But then, if we are going into, if we're looking at our constitutions, we're looking at what guides the creation of, or guided the creation of INEC as a body. What is INEC supposed to do? Is this going to be a duplicity or is it a necessity? These are two things, And then INEC is tasked with regulating the activities of political parties to a reasonable extent, to the point where they're not supposed to delve into internal political affairs, because these parties are supposed to have their internal mechanisms and their constitutions and guidelines that, even their bodies, the NEC, for example, that guide how, internal party conflicts are resolved. So I don't know if it's a valid call. However, in the face of an independent umpire for general elections not being independent, how can we trust that the political elites who are beneficiaries of this, of the fallouts within political parties, will let this happen? How are we sure that these bodies that will be created will be truly independent? Because that's the question. If INEC cannot be seen to be independent by Nigerians, how can we trust that one set up to regulate the political parties by the same politicians that are responsible for the chaos happening, that these bodies are going to be independent? So in theory, it's wonderful. He's proving to be a great elder statesman with this sort of recommendations, and it might be necessary, but in practicality, I don't know. Maybe we are just going to set up another body to consume funds and, nothing to show for it.
Mohammed, many have been calling for President Jonathan to speak even after he left office, and be looking at the silence from his end. And Paul, he has been famous to be traveling elsewhere in the country, looking at the democratic. But in his blunt word, he said political parties have become personal empires, not democratic institutions. Are you going with this?
Well, I think from a former president like Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, I think this is coming from a deep inside. He's something he has observed. It's something that is going on that we all can see. So him coming out, to say it just proves how true it is. Well, yes, I do believe it has become more of a personal gain structure, because him calling out, saying there's a need for an independent body, to regulate the political parties. It's very commendable. It's a necessity at this point. Seeing how we're seeing drama in political parties like the PDP, APC, where we see people defected on a constant basis without any reason, just because their own personal interests are not being represented. And which begs the question, political parties are actually there, to represent the people. They are there for people to gain leadership positions to represent the people. But then when people are going for personal interest, it then becomes another thing. Also, at the same time, as much as the independent body to regulate political parties is required, I also think what we can also compare it, to how we have INEC, how independent they are meant to be, but then we also have speculations and also have accusations of them being interfered with certain political, like you mentioned, the elites, some private elites who stand to benefit at certain points. So INEC is a good reflection phase to see that, okay, this might not work as much as we want it to be. Yes, on paper it might sound really good, okay, yeah, we require this, but then if it should actually come to light, how long would it sustain itself in a very good way?
Looking at it from another perspective, an electoral registrar, is it just going to be another dog without a teeth, or is it going to be well empowered to actually curb godfatherism, sham primaries, and imposing of candidates on political parties?
Well, I mean, it depends on what the structural framework is for setting up this body. I believe that this is not going to be set up with taxpayers' money. If you're trying to regulate political parties, is it, a joint task force, by the political parties to ensure that there's a level of sanity within Nigerian politics? So that's the first question. I mean, who is paying for this? Because whoever is paying calls the shots, really. So if Nigerians are paying for it, you can already tell that whoever is sitting in Aso Rock is going to dictate what happens within this political body. If, however, it is politicians that are paying for it, we might see a greater level of sanity with taxpayers with political parties rather contributing and paying for this, the putting these people in power and all that. But we have also seen that even within the political parties, certain individuals are responsible for who emerges as national chairman, and other key positions within the party. So are we still going to have, at this time now, someone said APC, are we going to have people with one leg here, one leg there, still calling the shots within these bodies? These are all the questions. So if we are going to do something like that, will it not now be like EFCC that has been accused of being an attack dog for whoever is in power? So we hope that if such a body is going to be formed, it is, transparent, and we hope at this point in time it falls on the politicians. So the politicians should be the one basically guiding how it works. So they should not use it to now, shut down certain political parties or attack them or, basically confine them or restrict them in their activities. It might cause more, I think it might cause more problems.
Yeah, more problems. But the irony is very, very simple to me, because the same people that are actually going to pass the law are the same people benefiting from it. Unless there is a constitutional review, which actually will have to back this electoral registrar. I think we're just going to be looking at, ideally, not so much of a reality, but a kind of gimmick.
They can empower INEC to, to do
exactly. Anyway, going from political rumors, let's going for more political rumors, which Nigerians might think is a rumor, but I think Nigerians are tired of propaganda. And when the social media was flooded during the week about the Japanese opening their doors for visa for Nigerians, and everybody lauded the Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration for this wonderful news. But surprisingly, it was just a sham. And now the Japan has actually declined and denied that they never, for once, promised Nigerians a visa-free or a city. IJ.
I mean, it was beyond rumors, because rumors are when you hear it from certain unverified quarters, but when you hear it from certain persons that are within the government, or you see it on certain platforms that we know to be credible, then it goes beyond rumors, So I feel like, personally, this was a weak defense that came, as a result of the attack from Nigerians over the empty booth. And, they already told us they were engaged in more important bilateral, engagements. So, they had to show something for it.
Exactly.
And, maybe they panicked, and in that, somebody decided to push out something news. And this isn't. So it is very, very shameful, because you put out in a bad light for a country to come and deny. It means it went beyond just rumors. For Japan to feel the need to come and address this, it was beyond rumors. So they've come out, they've addressed it, and the level of celebration, the level of excitement from Nigerians also ask, why are we so interested in, it's still the Japa syndrome, really. Yeah. And why is the federal government not doing anything about it? Because why are Nigerians so excited with the thought of going out, of traveling, of going somewhere else other than Nigeria? Should channel this energy into developing our
Well, Mohammed, yes. The Japanese visa, the Japanese visa actually, we should actually be able to understand the history behind lying in Japanese. They don't take it lightly. They have come out strongly to deny and say this is fake news. But now, government officials, government aides have actually come out to say this is true news and all that. Now, Nigerians are seeing this to be false. How do you actually perceive news coming from government agencies, coming from aides of the political office holders? Are we going to keep seeing this kind of propaganda instead of reality playing out?
Well, I think this particular message was shaped for those who are excited, they try to japa to Japan. It's very funny, because I think people are tired, people are seeking, asylum, they're seeking new resources in new environments. It would have been a good, thing that would have happened, but then hearing that this is coming, from a government aid or government agency, from one country to another, and then the other country coming to deny it openly, it's quite shameful. There's a lot of drama, that has been going on over the past week, between Japan and Nigeria, starting from TCAD and whatnot. So it's, well, like you mentioned, it's actually a shameful thing. I don't know what Nigerians are seeking for in Japan, although, by the way, yes, they have resources and this and that, but then people also need to realize that this is a country that practices a lot of laws. Their laws are almost coming from their ethics. Stringent. Yes, they are very strong on their laws. This is a country whereby you can't even drop refuse on the road. There are designated bins. So if you eat something on the way, you have to walk quite a distance until you get to a bin before you tread, and then you can get fined or sued, and you can't cut through the corners. So I don't know why a lot of Nigerians got excited even if these were to be true, a lot of them might not even qualify, the visa processing stage to get into this country. So this is something that they should also reflect on, as a person, as people, to change their ways, build a reasonable character. And also, this also calls for the country to do better, for people to jump on a particular information, without confirming it, be it a rumor or be it true. There's a lot wrong within the country for them to, want to move out that fast and get very excited and spread that kind of information.
I also like to openly call on the federal government, in the spirit of banning social media accounts for misinformation, to ban every social media account that has been, linked to this misinformation.
Yeah, this shows again how just one tweet or one WhatsApp group message can set everyone into panic in the country. And we're calling on the Minister of Information, the National Orientation Agency, and every other agency which actually guides on misinformation. You all brought down about 13.5 million handles. This is the time to actually set in the cybercrime law into play, and let's see who actually played a part in it. If the heads need to roll, let it roll. And moving on to actually courtroom drama, this is a very interesting one. The Labour Party's former presidential candidate in the last election, Mr. Peter Obi, has sued an activist by name Deji Adeyanju for defamation. Obi insists that it's about protecting his reputation, but critics worry it's the bad precedent for free speech. IJ.
Well, I think the story is multifaceted. It might seem straightforward on paper, but there are lots of curves, left, right. There's so much, and I feel like I don't know if we have enough time to dissect the intricacies of this particular story. But when people say that politics is messy, this is what they're referring to. I mean, you know the full story. You know exactly what is going on. Somebody said something about Deji Adeyanju's wife, Sarah Ibrahim. Deji Adeyanju responded, and a lawsuit came.
Yeah.
And this is my take.
You worth more than diamond, more than gold.
Should have done it a long time ago, because Deji Adeyanju did not start saying things about Peter Obi today.
Exactly.
You should have started a long time ago. And so the timing for me is very off. It is very wrong. If he's doing it now, in the light of this new, tension between Deji and Sarah, then it means this is a direct fallout of that tension. And I don't know if that is the light that you want to be seeing. It feels like this is a fight to, if you ask me, between two social influencers, two activists. I don't know if he understands that he is is a presidential candidate. Do you understand? He's a former presidential candidate. He is a leader in a party. He has millions of people who are looking up to him. I don't know. The optics are not very good, because if you're going to sue Deji, you should do it with your full chest for something that he had done, not because he has a fight with somebody who is, it raises a lot of questions, casts a lot of aspersions on his person. And I mean, I don't know. It is well within his right to sue Deji Adeyanju for whatever reason. I mean, let the court. Deji Adeyanju said he's waiting for the court he's very happy to meet him in court. And somebody, I don't know who will be representing Deji, whether Deji will be representing himself. I mean, he has represented very controversial people like VDM. Now he's going to represent a very controversial person like himself, if he's representing himself. And somebody said that he has not won a court case since he graduated. So, I mean, let's hope Mr. Deji Adeyanju will win one court case.
Mohammed, I want you to come from this perspective. Looking at 2023 election, you had the Yes Daddy audio tape that came out, and where we had a recording of Peter Obi and the Winners of Chapel General Overseer, Pastor Idepo, and he came out and said he was going to sue. And a lot of people looked at it that, let's see how the law is being tested. Now, there's been a back and forth with the aides of Mr. Peter Obi, in the person of Sarah Ibrahim, where she actually attacked the Deji Adeyanju's wife and said she's actually a TikTok baddie, and she has been
she said a TikTok OnlyFans
that has been throwing her bomb on the social space.
Even though she denied it, but
yeah.
I mean,
Now,
it is what we saw. What she
few weeks ago, there was a notification online between Deji Adeyanju and Sarah Ibrahim. There was no reason for Peter Obi to sue in that matter. But just day before yesterday, Deji Adeyanju said something about Peter Obi, and he went ahead to present a lawsuit now to retract what he said. And Deji Adeyanju said, "I'm waiting for you in court." What do you have to say?
Well, I think this whole saga brings. I would like to turn, the focus now on the statement from the present president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, where he mentioned how he no longer comes online on Twitter and social media because they abuse the hell out of him. So I think this is a page from the book of the president that Peter Obi need to take a lesson from, because the Lagos APC chapter just mentioned also that he lacks certain leadership qualities to rule the country, and this now begins to become bold for people to say, because there are certain actions that he has taken, being someone that is seen as the only person or the only candidate worthy of taking out the present president or able to beat him in the general elections. So there are certain dramas, especially on social media, where we are never short of dramas on social media. There are certain dramas he needs to shy away from, just turn a blind eye to, because you cannot engage everyone, regardless of what they say. Yes, some of them might actually hit a point, but then you should have people who handle this. Using the name of Peter Obi so casual, this is someone we are considering as a president of this nation. If he wins the general elections, may probably come 2027. These are not the kind of things you want being attributed to a nation's leader. So I think he needs to take a break or step back from social media in general. Personally, I think that is something he should really consider. Social media is not something, yes, it's good for political campaigns. It's good, to speak. This is the closest way you can get in touch with the masses, apart from, going around. So you should probably take a step back from that. And, well, yeah.
I mean, it's everybody knows Peter Obi, from social media. He's the one that is very, very in contact with the common man. He's talking to everybody. He's in touch with his Obidients crowd online. He's connecting with them. So, and if you see from the reaction from many Obidients over these incidents, you know that they are very fully in support of him. They are 100% behind him. They said that they did a clout chaser and all of that. But this might be Peter Obi trying to show his solidarity, rather, for one person who has always, Sarah Ibrahim has always been a great advocate of Peter Obi. So this might be Peter Obi sticking out his neck for one of his own, like he believes. But however, I agree with Mohammed. There are some things that, as a leader, as a public persona of the, of that caliber, you should shy away from.
I just also want to throw more light on this. At about just 20 minutes after Deji dropped the lawsuit on his page, he actually had about 1,007 comments in just 20 minutes. And these were actually messages coming from the Obidients. And Obidients have been tagged as the headless mob. And one would ask, in Nigeria, where democracy thrives with criticism and leaders are going to be tested with their tolerance level, is actually going forward, is this the kind of way Peter Obi is going into 2027? Is he going to actually be coming with an outburst, or are we going to be seeing a new Peter Obi, or going to be a more toned Peter Obi by his aides? Because we all know that Peter Obi should actually be speaking from a place of statesmanship, but he has come out to defend his aides through this lawsuit. But are we going to see more of this kind of legal tantrums, or are we going to see a reality from him?
Well, I think Obidients also need to come to the realization that, yes, Peter Obi is active presently on social media. This is something we actually wish from the present presidents and even the past presidents we have. Someone who can always keep in touch with the masses that, okay, there's an occurrence and he's responding. But then the reality here is that come 2027, say Obi wins, he's not going to have that same time, that same energy to always keep in contact with the people via social media. So this is something they really, really need to consider. This is something that they should also keep as a reality check, that right now, yes, he might be active. Right now, he might be engaging his followers, his supporters, he might be engaging the masses, he might be criticizing the government. But say he is the leader now, he might not have that time. He might not have that. one-on-one, because it feels like a one-on-one discussion now with his followers. So that might not be there. There might be a representative, maybe once in a while would have that time. So they should also stay clear of that, assumption that, okay, their leader is representing them or he's present for them just because of the social media engagement.
Well, on this, I'm sure we're actually going to send out a disclaimer. We don't support defamation, or we don't support tarnishing of people's image But I think we should see how the law tests is mark on this, because many people are waiting to see how far Deji versus Peter Obi and the Obidients, because how far Peter Obi is going to take this, because it's a delicate balance to actually not be able to stand the test of time when you actually see dissenting voices coming at you. And as a politician, you should always understand that people are going to malign you. People are going to say things that will make you go off the hook. But now, you have to actually have this tolerance level that you have to actually gain in, because Nigerians are going to see you from another perspective that, oh, this is your weak spot, and they're going to take it that far. And you're not actually going against just only Deji Adeyanju. You are going against PDP, you're going against APC, you're going against ADC, because there's no primaries now, and everybody is seeing you as a person. And this can actually make or mar your chances going into 2027 election. But we'll wait to see what the law says about this, because it's going to shape how activists are going to go either above the legal line or within the legal line. And this story actually has been ripping the social media apart, because you know how Obidients actually see Peter Obi, and we hope and see how it goes. And that's much we can take on politics for today, and we'll be going into our financial news.
Okay, so on the financial stories today, we have Brazil oil giant Petrobras plotting its Nigeria comeback. As we all know, President Tinubu was in Brazil a couple of days ago, and they're talking about the aviation, reviving the aviation sector, agriculture. By the way, the first direct flight to Brazil has happened. We are very, very happy, and we're commending Nigeria for that. But there's talks now about these Brazil oil giants, Petrobras, coming back to Nigeria. They left a couple of years ago because they needed to go back to Brazil to resolve more local issues within Brazil. But now they're coming back, and I don't know, does it signal a trust by the international community, to invest in Nigeria, in the oil sector particularly? And that's like we are going to see a lot more foreign exchange. I mean,
yeah, Petrobras is a big oil giant in Brazil, and if this deal goes through, because I'm saying if this deal goes through, because we have seen a lot of media denials, and we hope it goes through, because this means a lot of inflow for the country, and we are going to be seeing a lot of market, this shaping the market, how Nigerians are going to perceive both the Dangote refinery issues, where Dangote has been hawking his petrol, but Petrobras will be going into the
deep water oil exploration.
Oil exploration, and I'm actually going to see how this is going to turn out, because one, the host communities are actually going to benefit from it, and because it brings in more infrastructure into play, it brings in more jobs for the people who are actually going to be working with Petrobras as a company, and Nigeria is going to be benefiting more from it financially, because this is what we are asking for. We need more FDIs coming into the country, and this is thumbs up to the Tinubu administration, because this shows like they have traveled to Japan, they've traveled to Brazil, but
I think results.
This is the result has come into Nigeria, and this is a clear one that we are seeing, because the first flight came in, they promised us a direct flight from Brazil to Nigeria, and last night Air Peace came in, and I think we should leave the Japan for now and focus on Brazil.
But do you think that Petrobras coming to Nigeria, I mean, when it comes, do you think that this is going to force NNPC to be more efficient?
Well, in his state and broadcast in Brazil, that's the president of the country, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, said he has killed corruption and insecurity has disappeared. But I pray so that corruption has been destroyed when it comes to the oil sector, because I'm saying this because the NNPC has been going through the back and forth. The EFCC has been trying to investigate. The ICPC has been trying to investigate them. So if there is no longer corruption, this means so well for both the investors, both Petrobras and Nigerians as a whole, because we are going to be experiencing a turnaround financial breakthrough in our oil sector. So, and it's not actually calling for people to start investing in the oil sector, but this is going to bring in more inflow of dollars into the country, and we need all the dollars. IJ, we need all the dollars.
Yes, we do. I mean, if this deal goes through, like you said, if this deal could signal a lot for us, even for investors, it means that we are essentially going to be exporting more crude oil, more petroleum products, and if this does happen, then oil stocks could go up. And we're not. It's not a call for you to invest, and the views expressed here are purely ours. So you should probably consult before making any investment. But oil shares could go up. However, another benefits that we might be seeing are jobs. Nigerians might have more jobs coming in. Do you think this is going to directly affect them? Are we going to see more jobs, or is this another elite only?
Well, I think it's a decision. First of all, kudos to the president for this bold but this great move to Brazil. Usually there's always a tag on social media when the president travels. Okay, he's wasting money traveling. What's the purpose of his visit? But there's a lot actually coming from his visit to Brazil. With 5 different memoranda of understanding being signed in finance and whatnot. Petrobras is also one of them, and it's very commendable. So yes, I believe this is something that will benefit the nation greatly, because in line with the ideals of Petrobras, creating jobs would be among their top tier goals, because they are bringing in technology, they are exploring. It's something that benefits them directly as a nation and as an organization from Brazil. Nigeria has a lot of numbers when it comes to engineers. If you go to universities and then you go to faculties of engineering, I think nationwide you will find a huge number of people there, both graduates and still in school. So yes, I believe this will create a lot of job opportunities that possibly the federal government might not be able to fill in, especially when it comes to that sort of job criteria. So yes, Petrobras coming is actually, it should be a welcomed idea to the nation, because the people would have jobs, there will be a lot of infrastructures that will be built, and also the technology that comes with it would definitely benefit the nation.
All right, that's interesting. And still on oil, we're looking at the crude oil exports increasing. We have more crude exports because the federal government has clamped down on oil theft and vandalism. I mean, I already know what your take is. Yeah. More crude oil, more, if we have more crude oil, that means more revenue for, Nigeria as it is. But does this revenue, does it trickle down to the common man?
IJ, oil money comes in, but ordinary citizens see nothing. Will this be the same thing we have been seeing all the while? But I will just come from the part of where the country needs to prove that they have actually curbed corruption, and insecurity has actually paved the way for more inflow of dollars into the country, because an ordinary citizen does not actually understand when you say the oil boom has come, because most times it's actually an elite story and not the people's story, because it must actually get to where the inflation in the market has pegged down, and we don't have an issue of no regulatory uptake anymore. But my only concern here is, will it reduce the price of oil in the market? That is very, very critical. Will oil marketers begin to see how they can begin to step down the prices? Will we begin to see how it affects the general sales? Because anyone who is going to the interlands, bringing in goods to the urban area, will attest to you that this is going to cost us more fuel. Because, okay, a friend was telling me yesterday that, tomatoes is now cheaper, that beans is now cheaper. But the only critical problem is that he cannot buy the beans, tomatoes, and now send it to his people to the southwest, because he knows that the prices of transportation is still up there. So I'm looking at where, like I said yesterday, we start looking at price regulation. Because if we don't look at how we can step down the price regulatory board, whereby I don't think Nigeria has a price regulatory board, but if we have one,
the NERC.
yeah, I think we should begin to activate it. We should begin to do what is called due diligence, because we cannot just stay in our offices and begin to say, oh, we've said it, and it's because implementation is actually a very big problem in Nigeria. That is one critical aspect of Nigeria, maintenance culture and implementation procedures, because these are key things that actually affect the common man. If you say the price of bread is now 500 naira, you have to go out there and make sure that you enforce it and see that these prices are actually what they seem to be in the marketplace.
I mean, I'd like to take you up on, just to follow up from there, because you've mentioned the petroleum prices, and this is really how it affects the common man, because once you touch petroleum, you've touched everything.
Absolutely.
Now, over the past 6 years, we've lost about $29 billion due to pipeline vandalism and oil theft. So if this leakages are being tightened, and we can't lose more money due to this anymore, what happens? We're expecting that we have $29 billion really. So in the next couple of years, should this $29 billion, should we be considering, is it enough to reconsider subsidy, seeing as the removal of the subsidy affected Nigeria as an entirety? Or should the conversation that we should be having be geared towards building our local refineries? Because why should we keep importing petroleum products when we're exporting crude?
I'm a person of the school of thought that government should have no business in how marketing is done when it comes to our petroleum products. Because one, they should leave it to the businessmen to do this. Why they stay in the place of regulation? Because one, for it, we've seen how far the government has actually been able to manage the refineries, because we have many moribund refineries who actually, we keep putting more money into it.
So you think we should privatize like we do?
Because there are a lot of things that, when you say we have $20 billion, I smile, because we have a vice president, a presidential villa, which actually is still there and he has not moved in. We have the ICC, which they claim that they spent 39 billion naira on it for innovation. So I think when we're talking about cutting costs, we should be very, very pragmatic and sincere and transparent about it, because we cannot be making so much money and the effect is not actually being seen and felt by the people. Because going forward, people are going to be looking at, oh, we are making so much money, and I as a person want to vie for a position. Okay, this money is made in this office. This is where I will go again to go and loot. Because everybody's mindset, because I'm thinking about how we can begin to reorientate ourselves and begin to think about how to help the nation grow and help every other individual align with the growth of the nation. Because what we are seeing is just an elite gallivanting, spreading the money. Look at what the US government said, that more elites are spreading the money around the country, but the ordinary citizens are not feeling it. So I just want to say, we have to, in retrospect, we have to begin to think about how this money is being spent, and not how we have many resources of how to make this money, but it's not actually the problem, but how we spend. We have a spending issue. That's where actually we should begin to.
So you have the opinion that the money saved by eliminating oil theft and vandalism will still be rerouted at some level?
Absolutely.
All right. So I mean, these FG clamping on these people that are responsible for oil theft and vandalism, they have not been able to do it alone. It's been through concerted effort, and they've had even private agencies or private security firms like Tantita involved. Of course, we know Tantita, and so I want to ask if this is temporary. Is it a long-term solution, or is it a pause? Is it temporary? Because any shift now will still affect our crude oil exports, our production. Do you think this is a temporary, or you think it's something that would last longer than this? And how can we make it last, really?
Well, I think one point where we can make this a long-term deal is via, like Ikemba mentioned, price regulation and, seeing the effect. For example, I would say one of the major reasons why we're seeing things like pipeline, whether it's pipeline theft of this crude oil, is because, the people are not properly being represented. There is no good governance. They are feeling the economy is not doing what it's supposed to do for them. So, these kind of incidents occur. So I think one way we can see this is because, so I think Nigerians are tired of hearing just news and headlines, hearing things like you just mentioned, oil produce has increased and then theft has increased, the people should see it. When the subsidy was removed, when there's an increase in oil price, when subsidy was removed, there was an almost instant increase in prices of commodities, services nationwide. But then when we're making, or we're said to have made progress in the oil world, in the exploitation of oil, we then see a slow response when it comes to the drop in prices of things. There's also an ideology in the citizens believe that whenever the price of oil goes up, whenever the price of something goes up in the nation, the price of it doesn't really come down.
Yeah.
I want you to also, the security. How does this security? How can we ensure that it is more stable? If should we be getting the likes of Antita? Should we get more, or are security forces up to the task to make sure that this stability?
When you mentioned Antita, my mind quickly went back to Niger Delta militants and how we have suffered in the hands of vandalism through actually not capturing those who actually are the host community. No. The host community for this oil exploration, because the reason why we see most of this vandalism happen is because when the now Petrobras is coming to Nigeria, they are going to be having lots of exploration going on, and in those communities there's stipulated CSR for those. But now the problem we have is the leaders in this community are well sorted out, but the people in this community are not even in any way seeing the effects of the companies that come in to come and do the exploration, how much they pay to the community leaders. They don't even know about it. What actually they should be doing in the community. For example, in the Warrior Front, for example, you have incidents of them complaining that when Shell was there, when Chevron came in, when Total Energy came in, that the problem we have is not actually the projects that these people have embarked on, but who are the ones that have been contracted to actually do this, who execute this contract. Because one for one, we all know that Total or Chevron or Shell will not come and start building schools for you. Now, the community leaders are the ones who take up this. Now, when these things are not being done, what do the community do? The youths of that community feel disenfranchised and go ahead to bring to vandalize, sabotage the oil pipelines, and we begin to complain that, these people, these companies, these oil giants are not doing enough. It's not about them not doing enough. I think the government has to step in a place. If you are going to be dropping $10 billion for the community, let government stand in and let this go into projects that actually can develop this. At least the oil money was used to build Abuja. So why should we now not be able to build these communities to a standard whereby more can be gained from the communities than we begin to have issues of pipeline vandalism, have community clashes up and down. So I think we have to begin to see ourselves as our own architect of our own problem, because we cannot be looking at the ones who are coming from outside, the external companies coming from outside to do a lot for us, because they have released the funds and they have released it to the people in the community who are called the leaders of the community. And you see the leaders of the community begin to flaunt the wealth from the proceeds of this money sent into their accounts. But I don't even know why they should be paying directly to community leaders. Because if you have a project that you want to execute in that community, you should be able to understand that if these projects are done properly, you have more extension in that community.
All right, quickly moving on to our next story. The DG WTO, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, yes, she has said that the economy is stable. And a lot of people have also come to say that Nigerian economy is doing very well. And would like to commend the president. I mean, when someone is doing something right, we have to comment. I think something is being done right. And one of the evidences of this is the trade boom on the Nigerian exchange. We've seen a lot of investment over the past year, and this is a direct result of the reforms that have happened: the FX unification, the ISA 2025, bank recapitalization, even in technology. Because I remember growing up, you know, the letters will come for my dad, and then we'll know that, okay, UBA has paid for,
dividends.
you know, has paid dividends, you know. That's how we knew then. But these days, it is easy to buy stock or shares, like you're ordering food. So technology has really done a lot, and people are able to buy more shares, invest more. There's a lot of confidence really in the stock market and in Nigerian exchange, but it's beyond what is on paper. Do the people, you know, does the ordinary Nigerian on the streets know that, oh, I can buy shares from this company beyond buying these products, that I can own shares in this company and earn off it, and I can do so easily from the comfort of my home? Are this information being put out? I mean, the reforms have been done, the stock market is growing, which means that there's more confidence, but is there still work to be done to make sure that we're carrying everybody along really?
Well, I think this still brings us back to the debate of, you know, skills, education and skills, you know, which one is better, which one is higher. I think these are information that the people should know or would know from, you know, just attending school. You know, you hear things like dividends. You know, you hear things like, you know, the stock exchange and whatnot from as early as junior secondary school. You hear it in business studies where they teach you the basics of this. And growing up, like you mentioned, you know, receiving letters for dividend, and then now technology has developed and made these things easier to gain access to. So the people actually need to focus more on this, because you might have a skill, you might be making money, but then you could be making so much more, and there's a whole lot to discover in the foreign exchange and stock exchange market. I think it still goes back down to education. It's something you can definitely achieve. It's something that is not as complex as, I think my generation, the Gen Zs, really need to understand that our parents, or a lot of our parents, actually did this. And, you know, there's this ideology that we believe in, that whoever is doing forex, you know, it's almost like crypto. You know, they always believe that it's a downward slope more than an upward slope to it. So this is something they should understand, and they should really look into, and it's something that they can build themselves on and expand it more, especially, you know, with the success rate that is in there and much to build on.
Good. Yeah, but I'd like to ask, how can we get more people buying? I know there's a lot of people already, and that's why there's this boom, but how can we get even more buying into our local companies? Because if we are buying their stocks, we are basically raising equity for them, raising capital for them. We are making sure that they have the money to continue to run and make more profit. So how can we encourage more people to buy into our local companies, buy into these companies and raise funds, really grow our own, really?
Well, again, like Mohammed said, we need to actually give kudos to the Asiwaju-led administration, because the stock trading volumes have tripled, and a lot of stocks are being sold on the stock market. And but going to the common man, I think more information needs to be pushed down, because it seems like a pyramid, but at the middle, I think there is no information going down there, because people see, even while we're growing, most people see stock like actually something that you get into and your funds are stuck in there. So, but the truth is, more stockbrokers actually are out there, and like IJ rightly said, more people actually can purchase stock from your phone just by downloading some apps, and you get it. I think more information needs to be put out there. More people need to understand how this actually works, because many people think, if I get my money in here, and that's the end of my money. But no, these are things that you need to invest your money into to help you to turn over the funds that are with you, and instead of you spending on frivolous things,
Or just
probably
saving.
you just have to use it to just buy stocks, buy treasury bills, or general. But the most important thing is information. People don't have that information about stockbroking, stock purchase, and how to invest. Because if you look at how many people actually invest, even among, you mentioned the Gen Z, even the Gen Z might actually tell you they are actually investing in piggyvest. That's where they want to put their money. But they don't even understand that there are lots more to do with your money that you can just leave as a fixed deposit. No, there are much more you can do with your money than just, I think, I keep on calling out the National Orientation Agency, because I don't know exactly what is their mandate. Maybe it's cut across giving Nigerians information based on what they can use their money to do in the marketplace, talking about the stock market. And I hope going forward that more information comes out there. And on this channel, we will actually bring out more information for you on how to do that. I know IJ has a lot of information on stock markets and trading, and they should.
I will continue to give you updates, and it's just to be clear, these are not financial advices. This, just our own honest take. And then, I mean, do your research before you invest in anything.
Absolutely.
And then on to today's top earner on the Nigerian exchange, Square. That's 10% in the past day. That's a lot, and Square is responsible for, they have dealership for MAN.
Exactly.
And they bring in the trucks, the buses. They also import products. But the 10% is a lot. It's a lot of turnover. And do you think that this is a direct result of infrastructural development? I mean, if they're in the equipment and supply chain, really.
Yeah, again, IJ, one should actually say kudos to the President Ahmed Bola Tinubu's administration, because I think he has opened up a lot of infrastructure going on right now. Because if you look at, most of the roads are being constructed, and most of these companies actually bring in brand new trucks, because they think about it long term. And you can see more purchases going on. You can't see anybody buying the old product or second-hand products, because you need to actually man out on what you need to use to work. Because Soko actually has been in the market for a long time, and they are trusted hand. Again, I'm not saying this is as a market advice or advisory, and but I think it's working for them.
Yes.
Because bringing in more of these trucks, bringing in more of their equipment in here, and it's massive infrastructural output going on. And I think this is a good time for them.
Yeah, it is. They've done an internal review.
And also for investors also.
It's a good time for them as an organization. It's a good time for their investors as well. And I think their growth is a direct, is directly tied to the reforms that are around diversification. We are looking outside oil, so in agriculture and infrastructure development, and they've been direct beneficiaries of that. So are their investors. So if you're one of their investors, congratulations. And that's all we have for you today on finance. We'll be moving over to sports, and Mohammed will be taking us on all of the entertaining sports stories going on.
Well, starting on sports today, we're going to start with a very grim story, because my club, the Amazing, well, I don't know if I should call them Amazing anymore, with my co-host here, because they will almost crucify me. Man United were visited by the Grim Reapers, or let me call, as I call them, due to they knocked us out of the Carabao Cup. A Grimsby defeat from Man United last night with a draw. The match started with a 2-0 lead from Grimsby, and then we equalized almost towards the ending, and then we had to go into penalties, which we still lost to 12-11 in the penalties. Our coach, right now I think I'll start focusing more on the club and start associating myself with them until there's a positive comeback. The coach of Manchester United, Amorim, said...
Mohammed, yeah. I don't like this attitude. Are you just going to throw away your club just because they lost yesterday?
Well, it's not
because I've seen a lot of people asking questions that is this about a club that actually call themselves Man U, because they said the Green Peas actually beat up the manure, and now you're throwing away your club.
Well, it's not an issue of training.
I mean, I would throw away my club as well if it's second. If I was in my
Amorim is doing well for you guys.
I think you're mistaken. When it comes to a relationship, there's always two parties, and there's always a need for a break once in a while when one party is not doing as they should perform. As a fan,
so I think I've done.
I'm not fighting for it, but I'm going on a break. Yes, separation. A temporary separation until they do better, because even the coach, Ruben Amorim, mentioned he apologized to the fans last night because he said he doesn't really have much to say on the game.
He's been apologizing for a while.
I noticed that you're wearing the blue and white. Are you trying to
switch?
Because don't worry, when probably tomorrow I'll get you a Chelsea jersey tomorrow.
Wait, no, not to go as far as that. When you're on a separation or a break, you don't go to the enemy, you don't sleep with the enemy. Oh. You just stay on your own until everything home is safe back again. So hopefully we see a good turn of events for Manchester United, starting the Premier League on a bad note, where it's 15th on the table now, going 16th, and then moving to Carabao Cup and being eliminated almost instantly. I think that's a lot for Manchester United to look into. But I should also ask you, as a Chelsea fan, as a football fan that you are, what do you think is the future for Ruben Amorim in Manchester United?
Well, last night a lot of your Man U fans called for the sack of Amorim because they said it's now becoming a consistent failure on his part as a coach. Because as a fan, you come into the stadium after the purchase of ticket, and now you come in, and each match you come with
renewed hope.
Renewed hope that he's going to do better than what happened the last match, but still, he's consistently failing. I think the management of Man U at this point in time has to sit up and take a decision, because if we're to be in other football club by now, Amorim will be off as a coach.
Well, let me also ask you, IJ, as a Chelsea fan that you are.
I'm not a Chelsea fan.
Oh wow, okay, that's a public renouncement.
No,
of the club.
I mean, I'm very vocal about being a Barcelona fan. Okay. I have always been a Barcelona fan. Okay. However, I don't.
Noted.
No, we're not in the EPL.
We'll see more of Barcelona.
Well, until then, for now, let's focus on EPL and Man U's apparent. Lack of.
Well, for a
club,
consistent loss, really.
Unlike clubs like Arsenal, where they are still going trophyless on a very strong streak of trophyless seasons.
This is why I say, Man U are just full of excuses, and you're ending this season
we have a record. We have a record. We have a clean record. We have a good record from the past. We'll have trophies, just the same way Chelsea had before last season. They had a bad season, and then they went to the bottom of the league.
Nigerians will say, "I get them before."
No party at all.
Well, then, like I said, I'm on a break with Manchester United until we see positive results. Without wasting much time, we'll move on to the Super Eagles. Ahead of World Cup qualifiers, we are on an injury scare because our goalkeeper Nwabali sustained an injury while playing for Chippa United, and with the World Cup qualifiers around the corner, this is actually a great deal. Nwabali is our top goalkeeper and our first goalkeeper. So, what does that really say about?
I don't think I'm even scared, because you have a 15-year-old, 18 years old, 15 years old in Bayelsa United, 19 years, who has been doing very, very well. I think we have a lot of talent in Nigeria. We don't lack talent, but I think Judge Finidi has said we don't have any excuse going into these qualifiers, and I think that should be at the back of the mind of the coach, that there's no need to start stating excuses like Man U, and you need to just own it up, do what you ought to do, and bring us back into the qualifying series. I think that's what we need.
I'll say that we know how much how good Stanley Nwabali is, and he a couple of great saves across so many matches. So knowing that he's absent and he'll be missing a couple of matches, and his replacement is there. What the Judge Finidi will do, and I suppose that's what he will do, is just tighten up defense. That's really what it is now. Who are the people that are going to be playing our defense, and then basically tighten up our defense, so that covers for his absence, really.
Yeah, very briefly, still on the issues of injuries, Sevilla United also are losing their striker, not losing per se, but then he's going on an indefinite medical leave due to an injury sustained on his groin. Eko Adams, sustained an injury during their last match, which puts the team in a predicament because he's actually one of their top players. So, our prayers with him. Hopefully, he gets better soon and represent his club well. And then moving on, the Nigerian Premier Football League is to honor a coach and a player, Ogumodede and Anas, in Abuja on September 2nd. And this is a move by the MPFL, to encourage, outstanding activities. And it's actually a good thing, giving an award or, honoring a coach and a player for their outstanding. So, what do you think about that,
For me, I would just say it's long overdue, because Nigeria has a history of actually neglecting or setting back how to reward or recognize our wonderful heroes. And I think we should actually stop these promises that we give to players, and at the end of the day, we delay it for a very long period of time. We've seen the Falcons actually coming out to say, no, they need their money to be paid as when due. Because if you say you're going to give somebody $100,000, you should not wait until it's another season before you pay the person the money, because it actually shows that you are not actually taking into cognizance the need for actually to make a promise and fulfill it. So I would say this is a welcome development, and they should not actually keep it as a culture to delay promises whenever it is being made.
I would say that this actually changes the public perception of the MPFL, and that it could boost the morale of the players, the coaches, but we hope that they are not empty, antics as well.
True.
And then beyond that, that these awards do not solve the problem of poor pay, poor infrastructure. These issues are more important to the players. And, coming on the heels of the statement by Taribo West, following the funeral of Peter Obi, more things need to be done. It goes beyond awards. You need to take care of our players. We need to do better for them, because somebody will say, now what I go chop. So yes, let's honor them. Let's give them the awards because they deserve it. But beyond that, let's also take care of our players and make sure that long after they've finished playing and serving the country, that, they're still, whatever they've earned is still taking care of them.
Yeah, and finally on sports, tax versus salary, and this is actually an interesting topic because recently a video came online that shows how much players, international football players, earn and how much they pay in tax, which I believe is something that has been long overdue for people to know, because I believe there's something we know here in Africa, or not Africa, in the world, that called black taxing, whereby people who are celebrities or people who are doing well have this issue of black taxing from people they know. When a player has been signed to a football club, there's always this jubilee, when we hear the numbers, where we have even now linked football money, to blood money, because the outrageous amounts we see. But then people forget that there's a responsibility that comes with this amount of money. Very briefly from the video, I got some of the salaries of some of these players and how much they pay in tax. Some of the likes of Kylian Mbappe in Real Madrid says that he earns about 31 million pounds or dollars, I think, and he pays about 50 million in tax from that 31 million. So you can see he's actually making just about 60 million. But what people just see, is this 31 million, and it's actually a good thing, that these taxes are being used to build the economy of whichever nation or country they are playing in. It's commendable, but at the same time, it's something I believe Nigerians should take note of, that it's not just about the gross money that they're seeing on screen, but there's also something deeper down into it. This is just the information, to put out there, and I think that's all we have on sports.
Well, before we say goodbye for
on the sports side, before we move to entertainment.
I think when it comes to tax, we should be careful how we actually tax our siblings, our friends who actually are footballers out there, because the story that IJ was pointing out about Peter Rufai and Taribo West, people started saying that Pokucha earned about 139 million back then. I called a friend and said, no, most of these people lose half of their money to tax, because in Europe they don't play with tax. In other same client, they don't, because back here probably people think if you earn 1 million, you're taking the 1 million home. No, there's what they call personal income tax and other luxury tax and thereabouts. So it's not actually the amount you take home. Anyway, from the taxes.
I mean, maybe the footballers should be considering, like Nigerian players playing, outside. You guys should consider investing in Nigerian teams. They make money.
Exactly. And going into the entertainment world,
there's a lot happening on the entertainment scene in Nigeria. We'll start with a very good news, really. Toke Makinwa welcomes her first child, a baby girl. She just welcomed the baby yesterday. And I mean, this is great news. She's been posting a lot more frequently about welcoming this girl, and we're so excited. Nigerians are really happy for her. Are we seeing an evolution of Toke Makinwa, as you know? Is now Toke Makinwa the body has become Toke Makinwa the mom? Is this an evolution, really?
Well, our first was a congratulations to Toke Makinwa, because for years she has been Nigeria's poster child for independence and deep hustle. Well, I would say deep hustle, because she has reshaped the public perception about how women actually come out and go out there to do what they ought to do and how they do it. And I think this child is going to bring a lot more happiness to her, because she has been saying like, oh, this lady has been so independent, and now suddenly she has a child. I just want to look at how she's going to transition from the
okay, mate's body to
exactly Toke Makinwa to the Tokenwa body to Tokenwa Modi. So because at this time she's going to be reflecting on many things, taking care of the child, becoming a mother, and seeing herself as a role model to a child. So I think it's actually going to be an epic moment for her, and we want to see more of the spotlight's going to be thrown on her. The more I think this is a good one though.
Beautiful baby girl. I mean, are we loving this new culture of celebrities taking us around everything, you know, posting? They are showing us. It's like we're following them. Well, half of the journey. We can't call it the entire journey because we just recently learned that she was pregnant, and all of a sudden, baby is here. Same like Priscilla Ojo. I mean, this is now becoming a trend, sort of. They're trying to take us on their journey. You think they are trying to get their fans to share in their joy, in their happiness, or is it just to disprove allegations of surrogacy and what have you?
Well, personally, like I think I've mentioned this before. I think these are private moments, but then because they are celebrities, it's something they bring out on social media, and I think this is something people need to understand. So before they copy or try to replicate similar things, whereby you see people showing you, okay, they've been pregnant, they're this and that, showing you the whole process like these celebrities do at the same time. They need to understand that these are entertainers, in as much as they are doing this, just to share their joy and happiness to their followers, those who support them. At the same time, I think they are just doing this for their own personal benefit. So it's not something that has to go viral. There are positive sides to it and there are also negative sides to it. Well, I think it's something that should be encouraged as long as, or in as much as there is a positive side, there is a good modeling technique that people can imbibe from, not just the fact that, okay, she's being beautiful, she's flashing for the camera and this and that. There's also a lifestyle that comes with that, and people should also imbibe that, not just what is being displayed there for fancy.
Yeah. I mean, our next story, we're still looking at family and culture. Mercy Johnson is celebrating 14 years with her husband, Prince Odi Okoji. Wow. I mean, when I saw this story, I was a bit taken aback. I was like, I knew when these people got married. I've been 14 years already. It makes you feel so old almost immediately. But I would like to ask, I mean, what do you think Mr. Johnson is doing differently in an industry that is known for marriage breakups? I mean, there were lots of things said when she got married to Prince Odi, this, that. And, it's 14 years. They have 4 amazing kids. What do you think she's doing differently,
Well, I think these are the beautiful moments that should be caught on camera and should be on social media, just like, the Toke Makinwa's birth of a baby girl. I think social media has received a lot of false information when it comes to marriage, happy marriages, whereby whenever the celebrity divorces or there's a breakup in a marriage, people just assume that is the reality of marriages, that these people seem so lovey-dovey on camera and this and that, and the night has ended. That means it's not real. But then when we have milestones like this, like Mercy Johnson's where they celebrate 14 years of anniversary, that's a lot of years, a decade plus. It's really commendable. I don't know, I think relationships differ by persons, and that's something people need to understand. Just because it worked for Mercy Johnson, it might not work for someone else, but at the same time, yes, it actually works. People need to know that marriages work. It's not about what she's doing differently, because we've seen people that did it, that shown like it's going perfect for them, and then it came out crashing, with some going with exchanging a lot of hurtful words with each other online, and some just separating peacefully. So I think we shouldn't really focus on what she's doing differently. What we should just focus on is the fact that yes, it worked. Yes, it's not just about what we see fancily. I don't know if I'm passing my message, but the issue here is, I think there is this flowery image when it comes to marriage, when we see on social media celebrities that yes, it's going to go perfectly for you, and it must go perfect for everyone. No, it might fail for some people, and I don't know her secret. She might decide to share her secret, and this might actually help, but then people should not expect it to work directly on there, because we have different lifestyles, we have different personalities. But yeah, I think the secret she should share. I might not know what the secret is, I might be clueless, but then she should also share the secret, just the way she's sharing her anniversary.
I mean, I agree. We love the fact that to a reasonable extent, and that might be it, I don't know, is that she has kept her marriage off the internet. It's not like it's entirely off. I mean, she's a public figure. Her husband is still in the public eye, representing his people, obviously. So he's doing his own thing, and he's still there. And she's still doing her own skits, creating her content, having the time of her life. She's still out there amidst her own personal controversies. But, I think they've kept their marriage as, as a unit. out of the public eye, and I think that's a really good move. It might have sustained the marriage. But now I would like to ask you, Kemba, and I'm asking you because I know that you have a personal opinion. What I want to ask you is this, right? Does this counter the narrative, that stereotype that people have about actresses, getting married to actresses or actresses that, their marriages don't last, they don't know how to keep a home? Does it counter that narrative? Really?
Well, first of all, 14 years of marriage, that's quite remarkable because coming from an industry where many believe that fame kills relationship, fame destroys families, because just a couple of days I was watching a skit where a guy was asked to play a role and he had to kiss the lady more than 15 times, and they kept asking, have we gotten the line? He said, no, he has not gotten the line. He went again and again. And people, social media boys were like, wow, if that was my partner, that you were kissing for more than 14 times, I would actually get upset. Yeah. But I just want to say that getting married to an actress or an actor is actually challenging because, one, off camera or on the camera, I've seen spouses who go on set with their wives or their husband to actually be there to make sure they don't go off board. And judging from Mercy Johnson, from her roles in several movies, I just want to first of all give kudos to the husband that actually has stood by her strongly for these 14 years, because it's not easy actually for female, we have seen many female actresses or to be actresses who complain about how producers, directors actually harass them or come at them harshly because they don't accept advances. So Mercy Johnson must have escaped all these challenges.
That was already well established anyway.
And not killing her family with all the roles, I'd say kudos to her too. And I want to see more of roles that she's going to play going forward. Probably she's going to be playing motherhood in motherhood in all her roles now. I'm not going to be playing the girlfriend or the,
I'm not sure she's ready for those roles with this recent weight loss. But I think another secret might be, because we love this relationship between politicians and the actresses, Nedwoko, Regina Daniels.
Not maybe only actresses, we also have politicians and musicians,
No, marriages.
I'm talking about Two-Face and
Natasha.
Yeah,
I mean, those marriages might be built to last. I mean, maybe these are two entertainers. Politicians are entertainers.
Wait to see. But congrats to Mercy Johnson.
Congrats to her. I mean, we're really, we celebrate with you and we're happy with the joy. Then, onto a not so joyful story. Cubana chief priest's alleged baby mama Helen Ati has, in a very, very interesting move, dropped a diss track. I mean, she's been doing a lot. There's been a lot of antics, and many people have argued that this person is a cloud chaser. And I don't know about you. She keeps telling him to go and do a DNA test, go and do a DNA test. And for some reason, he keeps ignoring her. It's like he doesn't want to give her attention, but she's drawing the attention. And the people have said that the baby does look like him. But then, I don't know, and this is my personal opinion, I think she looks like him. So, yeah.
Well, for me as a person, when you talk about DNA tests, I think the reasons that are best known to everyone, some don't want to actually conduct a DNA test. But with a lot of paternity tests, maternity tests being failed recently, I think Cubana chief priest actually at a point in time have to do this, because even looking, just practically looking at the child looks much like Cubana chief priest.
But she looks like him.
But sometimes we have people who look alike. Yes. So, and because if you see I am my senior brother, you would see that these are twins. But no, we're not twins, because if he's standing and I'm standing, you would not tell the difference. But I just want to point out something very, very critical here. This might also be cruise, because the entertainers actually sell their markets via being controversies just to be at the forefront of the news and all that. But until a DNA test is being conducted, we cannot tell if this child belongs to
Well, like you said, it might be
priest.
just Chris because she has built a lot. She's built a brand entirely of being a baby mama, an alleged baby mama.
I'm telling you.
You know, Burna Boy has even been involved in this. She has played, you know, all the cards in the book. But regardless of the outcome of the DNA, is this justifiable? Because she keeps dragging him. She keeps, you know, it's recurrent. And now a diss track, I know diss tracks, like we know it, we're used to settle really heinous beefs when we see Vector and MI or Tupac or Notorious B.I.G. back in the day. And now we're seeing, I didn't know she was she was an artist. I mean, what do you think? Is this justifiable regardless of the outcome of the DNA test? Because you're dragging the person who is supposed to be your child's father.
Well, I think this is one of the dangers of social media. You know, people going out of their way to do anything or what they consider necessary to get engagement and to stay popular, or say to talk all the time. You know, to get that social media money. Yes, social media money is outrageous. You know, the amount of money we can make just from doing silly things out there. But at the same time, you should also think about the reputation. You know, the image it gives, not just of you, but also to the person you're trying to drag. What you might see as harmless might also at the same time be something so dangerous that, because you know the internet never forgets, what you might see as cruise or necessary for you to make money right now, a decade from now, 2 decades from now, it might not be the same again. These are things you might want to be deleted from the internet, but then they will still be there. Whatever person you have become, calm or, you know, for whatever you're trying to do, it will not really paint a good image of you.
All right, so very
well, sorry, before we go, probably you said you don't know if she's an artist. Davido is actually signing up new artists. Probably the baby mama could sign up.
He signed up to Davido's label. No, but Davido cannot be signed.
That's probably the keeper way of us conducting the DNA test. Yeah.
All right, so TikToker Pella yesterday was reportedly kidnapped during a live stream. So in a video that is, you know, now being circulated online, he was with unidentified men during a live stream. You know, that was on Wednesday night. And this viral video, you know, it was live, and he got out of his car. They ordered him out of his car, and he let out a scream, and then the live stream, you know, went on. And so many people have, you know, some Nigerians are very sympathetic. So Nigerians are sympathizing with him. A TikToker also came out to say that, oh, this guy is actually kidnapped. But some other people are saying, is this a publicity stunt? You know, he's been in the news for negative reasons lately, and he's trying to play in the emotions of Nigerians. I mean,
this is still one of the dangers, like I mentioned, of social media. You know, people try to go out of their way to do whatever it is necessary, but then these influencers or TikTokers need to also understand that there are repercussions to this. Okay, fine. If it is true, well, we are really sorry for him. You know, even though there's an update that he has been saying he has been recovered. You know, he's probably the DPO giving a statement and whatnot. If it is true, well, that is really scary. You know. Sometimes, or there's this ideology sometimes that celebrities are more protected, you know, because, you know, they're always walking around with security. But then for someone like that to be taken on live, you know, without caring about his image and stuff is actually really scary and puts the question, you know, what is the situation of security of the country? But then at the same time, if it is all cloud chasing, this is going to become dangerous, you know, like the story of the boy who cried wolf. Now others who might actually go live, you know, on social media, you know, to report certain things, you know, they are being kidnapped or they're in danger. People might not perceive it as true because there's an image that, okay, others have done it and it was just, you know, just crying foul or crying wolf. And then yours might be the same thing and it might not get them the necessary help because, you know, I think in the past we've seen several scenarios where people called out for help on social media and they actually got the help. And this might not paint a good image for them.
I mean, we've seen social media.
Well, IJ, I will have said, reserve my comments on Pella's issue, but I want to quickly make a word of caution because if this turns out to be false and cloud chasing or building on his PR, I want to say Jarvis as a person should begin to retrospect in her activities with Pella because.
What if she suggested?
Yeah, because of recent, she just the public just accused him of SGBV, that's gender-based violence, and he coming out with this kidnap scenario. I don't want to believe that it's true, but until his the case with the police actually made public, and we should just treat this as Pella chasing clout for now until it's been proven to be true. Because we've seen many scenarios where people come out that way trying to just do their PR stunts and cover up what they have been doing in the past. But, well, let's hope it's not clouds, though.
I mean, you both have raised valid points because they've done this over and over again. We don't know when they're being sincerely, genuine. Yeah. But this was a life, and I hope that the security agencies, having found him, are able to pick up on that. I mean, it took quite a while because this was life. Something should have been done almost immediately. But we like the fact that, he's been found. They should be able to identify the faces of the individuals involved, and then they should tell the public, come out straight, tell the public exactly what is going on, so that we know, what to do next and how to treat this. And if this is the classic case of boy carrying wolf, then he should be made to face the full wrath of the law for misleading Nigerians.
Absolutely.
And maybe others will take a cue from there. And then moving on to our last story on entertainment, and our last story for today, really. Yvonne Jagade's movie yanked from YouTube. So she released her new movie. I mean, this spent just one day on YouTube and it was taken down. We know that producing a movie costs a lot of money, and I would like to even take it from the emotional angle. What do you think, having gone through, we spend a lot of time, or they spend a lot of time in the craft, creating this, the thought process and putting all of this together, and not a lot of time on distribution. So maybe there was something that would have caused this to have been taken down on YouTube. Yeah. Is it time for them to also refocus, and how can they protect themselves? Because this is a lot of money down the drain, really.
Well, first of all, there are the regulations on YouTube, and if she has gone against any regulation that actually she should have any violation of the rules, the policies on YouTube, I think it will be yanked down. And but I think it comes to talk about, let's talk about her team. Her team should actually have done a great job to actually make sure that this does not occur. But if is able to appeal, she can still appeal for it, and it can actually be put up there. But I think at this time, this one should begin to look at other means of actually putting out their movies out there. Because if YouTube is dropping, we can also have a NigerTube, whereby we can actually begin to look at our own movies being put on there and classically being watched by Nigerians and African as a whole, and even an extension, a global view, because we have been talking about YouTube. We should also be having our own kind of platform where these actors and actresses have a chance, and movie producers have a chance to showcase their movies without being removed abruptly. But it's actually not a funny one, because with all that goes into movie making, and offsets, onsets, these people spend a lot, challenging moments, staying up nights and all that, and now you find your movie is actually going to be traumatic for her. And I pray that this does not actually fall into depressive mood, because it's not an easy thing to actually lose that viewership you have. After a while, you're hoping to actually gain traction, and now you have probably been halted. So let's see what happens as
I mean, she is definitely traumatized. Her birthday is just around the corner, and she said this has ruined her birthday. So she has come out to Instagram to say that the movie was taken down. They had to take it down because of technical difficulties or technical issues, and I don't know. So there were tech incompetencies, like she had stated. And so she's finding new people now. She's focused on finding new people to rework the movie. In a time like this where, we have complained as Nigerians about how big movies really flooding the net. You come on YouTube and every other channel is creating movies with no stories, no plots, just, empty content really. I think it's commendable that this was being taken down, and more so, shouldn't this have been previewed first? Shouldn't they have had a team? Is this a call for movie producers to take their time, plan the movies, plan whatever they want to put out, so they're not feeding Nigerians just garbage? You cannot expect to be hitting the level or heights that Funke Akindele has hit, with almost 1 billion stream revenue from a single movie, and we're doing what we call wait and take, really. What do you think?
Well, in this case, I think it's now time for people to look at how serious, the YouTube platform is. Previously people did not really understand, how big the YouTube platform is. But, past 2-3 years, I think there's been a lot of movies quality movies that have been uploaded, seriously to YouTube. And like you mentioned, people are really gaining money from it. And, like President Ikemba mentioned, we should have a Nigerian platform because, yes, in other platforms, like Netflix, Prime Video, we see certain segments, for Nigerian movies. But at the same time, I think it's high time we have ours, whereby it goes with our own, with our own beliefs, it goes with our own kind of viewership here. So I do not know, she did not state specifically what was wrong with the movie that, it was taken down. She did blame, her technical team for being, having some lapses and which caused the movie to be taken down. And, these are things that are like almost eternal, sorry. They go long time once you've uploaded something and it comes with viewership. Once you've lost that viewership, it doesn't come back again. If you are re-uploading again, you're starting from scratch zero. So I think the technical team, those who are being involved in these movies, they shouldn't just take it as something that is light. Yes, this is something that's putting food on the table, but then there's a professionalism and seriousness that should go into it that make sure that everything goes seamlessly and smoothly. Not that, because it's speaking on the entire technical team and, the entire crew, because, there are credits in a movie and everyone there, as you said, I mentioned, if this kind of situation happens, when it's eventually uploaded, others who might want to work with this team, with this technical team, might not do that because, okay, we have a record or history that, okay, you did so job, they had this and then it was taken down, it did not go well. So I think it's a call for people to take this streaming platform seriously and also to take their job seriously to avoid, mishaps like this.
All right. Thank you very much, Kimba. Thank you very much, Muhammad, for your great analysis today. That's all we have on the entertainment segment today.
Well, we have had a lot of stories for you today, from politics to entertainment to sports and finance. And I hope, again, you stick up to us. My name is Ikoku Chidoze Ikemba.
I'm Ijama Oba.
And I remain Abbas Muhammad.